I found these young ladies walking around, and we brought them in today. But this is Dr. Maria. She's a chiropractor. She's also my sister.
No.
Yeah, she's
She
the
looks way better than you.
better chiropractor of the family. And then we have Lindsay. I know Lindsay because obviously you come to our office, but you also coach my sister and my mom at your former gym, etc. And now you're working with a lot of females getting healthier. So that's exciting.
Yeah. Awesome. Very cool. Well, let's dive in a little bit, Lindsay. I've heard a little bit about your story. Not a lot, just a little bit. Can you kind of share, like, you used to actually be an ER nurse, is that correct?
Correct, yeah.
And you walked away.
I did.
Can you share with us what happened, why that happened?
Yeah, so I was, total as in healthcare between a nursing assistant and a nurse was like almost 20 years. I started off in high school as a nursing assistant. And then, I became a nurse. Bulk of it was in the ER. And, I got into nursing because I wanted to help people. It was kind of that, typical thing, right? And I loved math and science and, kind of pairing it all together and learning about the body. And I just didn't feel like I was doing that anymore. It was do more with less, hold their hand, make them feel special, but also get them in and out super fast because we have metrics to meet.
Sure.
So, it's unfortunate how much it's changed. I was very blessed to have the opportunity to leave because I do talk to a lot of my other friends and they're in it and they don't want to be in it anymore, but they're kind of, stuck there, unfortunately.
Do you feel like it's not about healthcare anymore?
Yeah, it's not. Yeah. I think the ER too is a whole different beast because you do see a lot of people that don't need to be there. And then you do get the ones that do, and that can make your day very fulfilling. But in general, there's so many that don't really need to be there.
Are you saying patients or nurses? Or both?
Patients, so nurses too. But I luckily had the opportunity to take a leap and fulfill my passion still, but with fitness, because I was always a big fitness person as well. And part of me I was like, why are these people just not working out and moving their bodies or eating a little bit better? And so I opened the kickboxing gym with my husband, and we were there for almost 5 years, and that's how I met these wonderful people. And then we did sell that almost a couple of years ago now, and I've been a health coach and helping people lose weight. And I had my own journey along the way, learning more about nutrition because, as I kind of mentioned, I got into it thinking fitness. But then I had my own health struggles and realized how much of a role nutrition plays and stress. And everything kind of led me to where I am now. I feel like it's just a great pairing because I can still use a lot of that nursing knowledge. Yeah. And even stuff I learned at the gym. Yeah. And now I'm incorporating all of that, but really, especially the nutrition piece with what I do now.
That's so cool.
One of the most common misconceptions that I've seen over time, right, in healthcare in general, is that a lot of people assume that because you're in healthcare, you'd have all the answers to healthcare issues, right? And I've worked with a lot of nurses in my practice and even medical doctors. And when they walk in, especially when you're a new chiropractor, a new doctor in the field, you assume that they know everything. So you get a little bit intimidated. You're like, oh man, but what I noticed over time is a lot of nurses, because of the lifestyle they're living, which they're working late nights, 12-hour shifts, under a lot of stress, they're actually not that healthy.
No, I would looking back I was not aware of some of the symptoms I was having. And I was just, some of the problems that manifested while I was owning the gym that really came to a head. I'm like, these were probably happening for years that I just ignored and didn't really put two and two together because I was just so immersed in the healthcare system and I wasn't really thinking outside the box of other things. It's been quite a journey.
I would say it's not only you.
I was going to say.
A lot of people live in that fight or flight. People don't understand that. Then they come into our office for the first time, they get adjusted and they start wondering, wait, why am I sleeping better? Why do I have more energy? Why is my functions are just a lot better.
Yeah.
And as chiropractors, obviously everything starts at a nervous system, but it's just a good reminder that we do not have to live under stress.
We always say that people don't know how bad they feel until they start feeling good.
Correct.
Right?
It's
And
like,
they're do you, and it's interesting, you said nurses and doctors specifically often are very unhealthy. Do you all find that true to be for chiropractors and other natural health people that they don't always tend to be?
Yeah, I mean, especially I'll take myself for an example. Yeah, I live and preach a healthy lifestyle, but I'm very unhealthy in general because of the amount of stress I'm under. I don't sleep very well because I got to run multiple businesses. Certain times, even though I try to eat healthier, the circumstances of what I have around me, and I'm always on the go, it makes everything super hard. So am I the picture of health? Probably not. Do I strive to be better and healthy every single day? That's the goal. That's the ultimate goal. And things are always changing as well. You know, as a healthcare provider, what I learned 10 years ago, it's irrelevant today. There's new things coming up, new research. And what I thought, for example, 10 years ago, I'm like, yeah, you got to eat kale every day, you know, whatever it is. And now it's like, I shouldn't be eating kale every day, you know, so it changes.
I think it's balance at the end of the day. We got to remember, yes, we're healthcare providers, but we're also humans. And we were just talking about that the other day. I'm actually treating a chiropractor that he stopped practicing many years ago. And we do our workshop in the office where we dive into health and what the possibilities can be. And it was a good reminder for him. He was like, I've been so unhealthy. I forgot why I started chiropractic in the first place. He was not moving. He wasn't getting adjusted. Now he was smoking, taking a bunch of medications. And after that reminder, he stepped back and he was like, wait. What am I doing? Right. And it's just a good reminder. We're all humans, first of all. And second of all, balance is key. We are not here to be perfect. It's just having a good balance to have a healthier lifestyle or become healthier every single day, like you said.
What's fascinating is if practitioners and natural health practitioners, they lose track, how much more do people? And you said something very interesting. You said, hey, I really noticed that nutrition plays a huge part in like moving more, right? And I would assume that when you were in the medical field, that wasn't necessarily a prescription that you gave or doctors gave. Can you speak a little bit about that and how, is it still like that in the medical field and how can we help move that?
Yeah, I mean, definitely not. And that's where like I because I personally was not even as immersed as I am now, but you know, in that kind of fitness mindset and wellness mindset. And so yeah, I mean, unfortunately the doctors are just trained to prescribe and cut. Like that's the big thing, you know? I mean, I've heard that they maybe spend like 3 hours out of their how many years of training on nutrition. And even in that sense, it's nutrition for like this rare disease. It's not even how to really, you know, and the other thing is too, a lot of them aren't even open to having that discussion. Like I've seen my gynecologist before and talked to her and I'm like, yeah, I'm helping women with PCOS lose weight. And she's like, yeah, like they can be, you know, treated as long as they're taking their meds. Like, Jesus but Christ. Like, yeah, nothing.
Yeah, they're not like, open to it.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, I'm not even gonna have this discussion with her because she's not open to hearing about what I'm doing and how I'm helping these women. Yeah.
What was food like in the hospital?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you can imagine, of course. Now they also like there's a Dunkin' Donuts. I know in one hospital in our area. They have Starbucks. They have, of course, other coffee shops.
Terrible.
It's all prepackaged stuff, depending on kind of the size of the hospital. Like, because I worked at a few, there might be like a nice salad bar, you know, something like that. But otherwise, it's kind of just your standard cafeteria food. And then the other thing is, especially in the ER, we were like the dumping ground for everything. Yeah. like the other floors, they like whatever. If they had a potluck thing, you know, they would leave it with Cookies. Us at the end of the day. Exactly. The doctors would bring in stuff. We would have our own like potlucks for various things. And of course that wasn't always the healthiest, you know, and then along with you work 12-hour shifts typically.
It's a lot.
And like you barely get a break. And then during that time, you're just trying to like shove whatever you can in your face. And if you didn't have time to pack anything for the day, you're running down the cafeteria, grabbing something that isn't very good for you. It's just,
and then on top of that, the stress of just dealing with it. And obviously when you go to the ER, they're not the patients we see in our office.
Yeah.
Our patients are like, I'm so happy to be here, you know. And the ER is like, get me in, you know.
Well, and to your point, you said a lot of them don't need to be there. And I used to work at a halfway house. I know for a fact people would claim injuries because they wanted to get out of a facility or they wanted to get off the street. Yep. Is that what you found a lot of?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, especially, I mean, I'm from Indiana originally, and so winter, of course, they'd want a warm place to stay. But even here in Florida, we would see that a lot too. Or it would be just the recurring, you know, like abdominal pain, for example, and they wouldn't follow up with their regular doctor.
And it was a fart.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, and we would do the whole like everything. I mean, we would do x-rays and CAT scans and of course blood work and then give them some good meds. And
so wasting time and money.
And it was like
the meds what they wanted or not necessarily?
It depended on the doc. There's it would sometimes depend on the doc, and we as nurses would sometimes fight them because there is a database as well where you can, I mean, you guys probably know this, where you can see what they're being prescribed. And
I was going to ask you that because I have a couple of nurses, they're the first ones that don't want to take medication. Yeah. They're like, I don't want that route. Yeah. I see it every day. I don't want to take those medications. So it's so interesting to see because in my head, I'm like, I don't want to say you're part of the problem, but you're also working around that. Like you're supporting that to an extent, but you yourself, you wouldn't do it. So
not you got it.
Yeah, not you. You're one of the ones that I admire that they're like, I see it, I'm a step out, but I see a lot that they're like, yeah, I see the problem. I just don't speak up or I don't do anything about it.
Yeah. That's so fascinating. Is that what you found? Like a lot of nurses are a little bit that way?
I feel like they're trending that way, but like it's been 7 years since I practiced. I don't feel like at that time we didn't know. Like they were just in it, and if they were sick, then they just still went through the whole typical healthcare system and
it's moving.
But I feel like it is somewhat trending that way. Yeah,
well, that's good.
But it's slow.
You talked about like moving more, eating different, nutrition, stuff like that, and how a lot of people just don't do it. So I want to ask all of you, like in your opinions of where you guys are, how do you get from the place of like, hey, I need to do this to actually doing it? Because knowing you need to do it and doing it are two completely different things, like completely different. So somebody listening to this might be going, yeah, I agree. I should move more. Yeah, I should eat better. Yeah, nutrition's important. But so how do you move from but to actually doing it?
Yeah, you had the gym, and now you coach women, so you probably have all the answers.
I don't know. No, what I'm learning and incorporating more into what I do is the mindset piece for a lot of people, because like I'm definitely not the norm. So like I found out, like I mentioned my health struggles, I found out I was severely intolerant to gluten a while back. Yeah. And I was able to just cut it out. And I was like, I know I'm going to feel better. You know, like no problem. But I've talked to other people and it is not that easy. Even when they know they're not going to feel good. You know, but they will still push their limits.
One piece of pizza won't hurt.
Yeah, exactly. So whether it's more movement or focusing on nutrition, like I tell my clients, it has to be something each day. You can't just have this all or nothing mentality. And when people take on too much at one time, especially they think, well, I can't have this and I can't do this and I don't have time for this. Like, no, just pick one little thing and just try to focus on that and build that habit and then focus on the next thing. As long as you're working on something for that day, like you're moving the needle a little bit.
Small wins.
Yeah.
What do you two?
For me, I was an athlete my whole life. Okay. So it was kind of engraved in me that I have to move. I also have a very severe ADHD. So I pretty much noticed very quickly, especially owning the practice, running the practice, if I wasn't moving, the practice was falling. Because that literally reflects on my mental health and what am I doing on a daily basis that it's going to just promote a better outcome for me in a day-to-day. So for me, it's more for my mental health, for my structure. I'm not the best at nutrition. That's not my strong suit, but I do find movement be my outlet when it comes to all the stress that I was living. The first year that we opened the practice, there's a lot of stress. It's a new business. I found myself doing nothing. And guess what? I felt like I was going to die. I wasn't sleeping.
I can't keep doing this.
No, I can't keep doing this. So I got to a point that going from a 6-day-a-week training to owning a business, the business consumed everything. It was the stress. And I found a lot of my patients are like that. They're overwhelmed with the stress that they don't find the time to just kind of slow down and be like, I have to do this for myself.
Yeah. But if you think of it as I have to do this or I can't continue helping other people.
Exactly. Yeah. And that was my mentality. I was like, I want to come the best version of myself to my patients, which is what they deserve. I need to first take care of myself, whether it's moving, whether it's sleeping better, whether it's just taking a day for myself. So that was a huge breakthrough. Yeah. And when I started doing that, the practice started growing. The patients were happier. I was happier doing what I love. So it's a good reflection.
So if you can't do it for yourself, do it for other people, but take care of yourself for other people.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, your ADHD was pretty rough.
Yeah,
when you were growing up.
Yeah,
I would teach her. We went to a school that was, fully English, and Spanish wasn't Spanish, obviously. But my mom, with the English words, she would tell me, "He's like, all right, you're gonna review them with her, because it's not my forte. So I review the word. Let's say, I don't know, alligator." And an alligator is this, and she would learn it in a second. Then I would ask her 3 minutes later, right, alligator. She's like, can't remember. Mine just would go somewhere else, and I would tell my mom, what's going on with her?
What's wrong with her? Nothing.
She could not retain it, but that was it, So, yeah, I was the opposite.
Yeah.
I didn't work out. I actually I did sports because my mom wanted me to talk to people. I was like, why would I go talk to people? Like, why? So, I did a little bit of sports growing up. Wasn't a big fan of working out. I mean, when you think about working out, it's like, you're sore. You got to wake up early or you got to do it late. You're there an hour. Everything hurts, So it's tough. But now, as a healthcare practitioner, I've learned that, hey, if you're not healthy, you're not going to, I'm not going to be able to continue on this trend. Whether it's from a business perspective, if I don't take care of my body, there's so much energy that my body's going to have throughout the day. When I wasn't working out, the days I didn't work out, I would crash at 3 p.m. And then the rest of the day, I just got to be drinking coffee just to sustain the level of energy. Which
is super healthy,
Yeah, right, exactly. Right? So now I've learned over time, it's like, hey, if I want to lose weight, nutrition is the key, right? If I want to live longer and I want to be healthier and stronger and sustain this, I got to work out. And most people think that they don't have time. I think that's bullshit, to be honest. I recently did a exercise. I read the book Buy Back Your Time, I believe, by Dan.
Yeah.
And he says, I want you to track your day in 15-minute increments and look at your schedule.
I already know. I'm afraid to do that.
I know. And I did it. And my Tuesday, I had a lot of work from the morning till about 3 p.m. After that, 2 hours of Netflix, an hour of YouTube watching The Voice videos. Then 2 hours of movies. It's like, I just wasted 6 hours just looking at my computer. Yeah. So am I really time deprived? Not really. No. I still have the time. You just
don't have the energy and the time combined.
Exactly.
That's funny that you say that, because do you guys know what 75 Hard is?
Yeah.
So 75 Hard is a huge program. You do it for 75 days. Me and my husband did it while I was in my 3rd year of chiropractic school. I was taking multiple boards. I was taking over 13 classes every 11 weeks. And I decided to add 75 Hard to that. And when I tell you, I've never been more productive and I've never been healthier and fitter. And I was passing all my classes, all my boards. And that's exactly what I found out. I was like, how am I so productive? And now that I do less, sometimes I find myself not having time.
Right.
It's just, you got to see your schedule.
If you look at your phone usage and you go on there and you go, ooh.
It's so bad.
It's definitely.
Let's put that down.
Yeah. People that want to work out, it's all about not only time management, but energy management, right? For sure. There's certain people, which I've heard it from them, it's like, I don't work out at night because I don't have the energy. But other people say, I have to work out at 6 because that's when I have the most energy. So I think as an individual, you have to find where do you have most energy and do the workout at that point. And like Joe Rogan says, if you do a heavy workout, everything else throughout the day becomes easier.
That's
correct. I mean, what you were saying, I trained and completed an Ironman while I was working 12-hour
When was
shifts
that?
in the ER. That was 7 going on 8 years ago.
Man, that's a lot.
But like literally, I mean, I'd wake up early and I'd like get my run in, and then after I got home doing 12-hour shifts, I'd get my swim and like, you know, do my long bikes on the weekend. And like, yeah, it's like amazing. Like looking back, I'm like, I don't even know how I did that.
Same here. I was like, how did I do that? And I remember walking in between classes. Let's say I had to do like a 45-minute workout outside. I would literally take flashcards and walk through the whole campus, and I would just be learning my flashcards. And it's just so amazing when you put your priorities straight, when you put the energy into it. I'm a very competitive mindset, so I'm like, I'm not gonna be a loser. My husband's not gonna beat me in this 75 hard.
So that's why she succeeded right there.
It was because of the husband.
But it's so interesting. You make time when you really want something.
Exactly.
It's a decision.
Yeah.
It's a
I mean,
decision.
everything's a decision. If you decide you're going to eat healthy, you will. If you say, I'm going to try, you won't.
Yeah.
You got to choose, you know, you want comfort or you want healthy, you know, it's like, it's up to you.
Exactly.
So you work a lot with women now, yeah?
Yeah.
All right. So tell us a little bit about what you do now, and then we'll get into that.
Yeah. So I, like, as I was kind of trying to find my niche, thinking back to my ER days and seeing the women come in with PCOS and like flare-ups and that type of thing, I started doing some research, and it's definitely just a group that I feel like is neglected,
Underserved,
not really heard. It's probably even the numbers are probably even more than what you might find, but even so, it could be like 12 to 20% of women that have it. Like 90% of those are overweight as well, and so. Like, I'm just really passionate about helping women lose weight. And so pairing that along with that diagnosis and using my medical background and being a woman myself, like, you know, being able to really connect with them and having my own health struggles. Because to me, no matter if it's PCOS or something with your thyroid or whatever, like, it really comes down to nutrition and moving your body. But yeah, so that's my big focus is women with PCOS. I have a 90-day program focusing on building better habits, more empowering habits, and just learning more about nutrition to help them lose weight. In that time, I've helped women lose anywhere from like 20 to 30 pounds in 90 days.
Nice.
And
It's amazing.
just kind of getting back to the basics of it. Like, nutrition has gotten so complicated, and it has to be this diet, and eating this certain way. And it's like, no, we didn't do that back in the day. Like, why are we doing that?
Right, for sure.
I read one of your articles. I don't know where I read it, but you were talking about how you try to approach these healthcare issues a little bit different, rather than pumping people with supplements. Right?
Yeah, that was on my Facebook.
Right.
I think, yeah.
Rather than just pumping people with supplements, which is pretty much practice in medicine, but from a natural standpoint.
Yeah.
Healthy pill.
Yeah, healthy pill, right? It's the same thing. It's an outside-in approach. You go from the inside-out approach. It's like, hey, your body needs everything it requires to be healthy. We just have to give it the right stuff, and that's the fuel, the food.
And whether it's the supplements or whether it's the GLP-1, you know, like all that stuff. Like, fine, if you feel like that's what you need in that moment, but then also let's learn some habits and learn what you really need, because that's not a long-term solution.
No,
you know,
that's just a patch.
Yeah. Are you going to pay for these supplements and everything, like, in the long term? Probably not.
Your hair's going to fall off.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard of, like, with, like I said, with, you know, with Ozempic and all that stuff. I mean, it's like, I've heard of insurance is dropping them after a certain amount of time. There's these plateaus that get reached, and then of course everything comes back with a vengeance, you know, of course, along with all the side effects. And it's like, so fine, if you're doing that, but let's also learn how to actually live your life, and then eventually get you off of that stuff.
I love that you say that, because, and this is something we talk a lot, people want the easy way out. all the time. And it's like we tell our patients, whether your choices were good or bad, you've gotten to this place that now you do have to do something about it. And taking these pills, taking these shots is not going to change your eating habits. It's not going to change your lifestyle. It will probably everything come back, and even worse.
Yeah.
Just like it's a medication. It's something that you're putting into your body. Your body's not meant to have that. So I love that you do that.
And it didn't happen overnight.
Exactly.
And so, like, it's not going to be overnight.
It
to
didn't?
get the results.
You mean it won't be fixed overnight? What?
I didn't get
so if I
to-
don't eat gluten for a day, I'll be better. I mean, I won't be better.
I didn't get to 300 pounds in a day.
Yeah.